Access to the most exclusive music event of the year.
Live in the Vineyard.
A weekend getaway of wine, food, and music. All in the beautiful Napa Valley.
Featuring intimate acoustic performances from
Lifehouse,
Florida Georgia Line,
The Tintings,
Oh Honey, and more.
Plus, a private tour and passport wine tasting at Sutter Home Winery with Melissa Etheridge.
Score a second chance to win at 1043myfm.com.
Courtesy of Southwest Airlines, the official airlines of Live in the Vineyard.
And 1043 MyFM.
Hello.
Hi, Sonia. I'm a helpful Honda person, and I'm calling to give you a random act of helpfulness.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We heard you're trying to get a new job.
I went to school for phlebotomy, and I was making payments for school, but my hours at work got cut. In order to take the test, I need to pay off my balance.
So what is phlebotomy exactly?
I work at a clinic, and when the doctor orders blood work, I draw the blood and check it for any abnormalities.
Ah, gotcha.
I was offered a job at a major hospital, but because I don't have my licensing, I can't work for them.
How much do you owe the school?
$1,200.
Well, the Southern California Honda dealers would like to help out. We're going to pay the balance so you can take your exam.
Oh my God, really? Thank you so much.
Today we help someone get a better job, and we can help you find a reliable, award-winning Honda, KBB.com's most trusted brand for 2014. To test drive the 2015 Civic, visit SoCalHondaDealers.com and find the helpful Honda dealer near you. Sonia was randomly selected and paid to be on the radio. Award calculated among non-luxury shoppers. For more information on the Brand Image Awards of 2014, visit KBB.com.
From the ASU Online Weather Center. This report is brought to you by Choice Hotels.
Sunny skies today in Long Beach, a high of 73. In Palmdale, expect a high of 61.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels. Because now, when you take two separate trips, you can earn one night free. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and visit choicehotels.com for details. Great endings begin here.
Wicked, Broadway's biggest blockbuster and LA's most popular musical, has flown back to work its magic. Wicked. After 3 record-breaking runs, the magical musical Variety calls a cultural phenomenon is now playing at the Hollywood Pantages through March 15th. Catch it before it flies away. Visit Ticketmaster.com to see the #1 show on everyone's list. Wicked.
Remember when a dollar meant something? Like when you got one for every tooth, or one bought you the Sunday paper. At McDonald's, we've never forgotten. That's why we're the home of the $1 drink, where $1 means more than one choice, and one drink is never one size fits all.
The dollar drink lives here at McDonald's. So come in now to get any size soft drink or sweet tea for just $1. With this drink deal, your dollar is always right at home. Price participation may vary, a la carte only.
Frankly, my husband and I were at the end of our rope. We wanted our daughter Gina to succeed, but didn't see any hope for this at her previous school. A friend of ours recommended Hellstrom Academy and its unique 1-student to 1-teacher ratio, and we were pleasantly surprised at the results. Our daughter is now on track to graduate and is ready for the college of her choice.
With 30 years of helping students, Hallstrom Academy's small private school environment allows your 6th through 12th grader to concentrate on what's important, excelling.
I never really believed that school was for me. Hellstrom Academy not only changed my perspective, but made me so excited about my future.
We know that every student is different, with unique abilities and challenges. At Hallstrom Academy, personalization is key and will help your child achieve academic success. 1 student, 1 teacher, no limits. Hallstrom Academy. Help your child reach their potential. Contact us now to receive $500 off full-time enrollment. Go to hallstromnow.com. That's HALSTROM now.com. hallstromnow.com.
The iHeartRadio Ultimate Valentine's Escape.
Thank you so much.
Was a huge success. One Republic performed along with John Legend.
Whoa.
Brittany, our grand prize winner, experienced a weekend of pure romantic luxury. A world-class suite at the Paris Las Vegas, a $2,500 shopping experience, $1,000 in chips, and more.
Thank you.
Presented by Hot Tub Time Machine 2 in theaters now. Keep listening for what's next. Wake up. My FM, 3 things you need to know.
Driven by Nissan. More of what you want is at Nissan now. And now's the best time to get great offers on their exciting full line. Shop your local Nissan store or choose Nissan.com. 3 things you need to know right now.
It is 7:23. A Metrolink train derailed in Oxnard a little over an hour ago. We broke that story here in the air for you after colliding with at least 2 trucks on the tracks. Now, the track appears to have been damaged due to the power of the crash. The collision derailed 4 of the passenger train's cars and it injured at least 30 people. Metrolink has not confirmed the number of casualties yet. Everybody's obviously on the scene. Tonight, the Inglewood City Council could decide to approve plans to build an NFL stadium in the Los Angeles area. The vote could fast-track a $2 billion plan whose partners include the St. Louis Rams and could bring the NFL back to the LA area for the first time in over 20 years. But then we had the Chargers, we had the Raiders. We're getting like 8 teams now. It's going to be awesome. Wind chills and wintry precipitation are expected to affect a large portion of the country again today. School districts in more than half a dozen states have canceled classes today. That's better than yesterday when 21 states reported closed schools. In Anchorage, Alaska, notoriously a cold place on our planet, Alaska, right? Anchorage, Alaska today, the high is 36. At my mom and dad's house in Connecticut, it's currently 9. Anchorage is balmy. Anchorage is the place to go. Spring break in Anchorage. Everyone's going. Here's Ed Sheeran. This is Thinking Out Loud. More tickets for him come up tomorrow morning at 7:10.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheek? Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. And baby, my heart could still fall as hard at 23. And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day. And I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now
That's awesome.
take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud. Maybe we found love right where we are. When my hair's all but gone and my memory fades.
Failing forces here. What I'm seeing, at least on the pictures being broadcast by the helicopter, is a fairly successful derailment in that it does not look like the cars crumpled. It does not look like they came apart. Apparently this collision energy management technology that in fact that they had installed as part of the improvement of the railroad and the safety, it did seem to work. At this point, though, there's still lots of questions that need to be answered before we can understand exactly what happened, why it happened, and how we can prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, that's fascinating to hear what you just said about how the cars, they went on their sides, and it looks very dramatic from the top. But I pointed out earlier, I said, you know, they were able to gain access to those cars from the, you know, sort of the normal entrance routes as opposed to having to chop them open.
Absolutely. So the survival factors, folks, work very hard in helping to understand what will help survive an accident like this. Remember, this train may have been going 50, 60 miles an hour when it went through that crossing, and to have it immediately stop like that, again, the physical forces, the loads are such that they will derail. There's not much you can do to keep a train on the track after it has that kind of immediate force put upon it.
I have one more question for you, because you talked about the fact that the agency, NTSB, has got a lot of teams out already on train accidents. What is that telling us about train travel right now? I mean, are we in kind of a window here where we need to be reassessing what is going on relative to trains crashing?
Well, believe it or not, there are about 2,000 to 3,000 derailments every year, most of which are the train coming off the track with virtually no impact other than to lift it back on and to move the train again. These that have passenger injuries are something that the NTSB does look at very carefully, because, again, passenger travel, commuter travel is extremely important in the United States, and it is the responsibility of of the NTSB to make sure that they understand when these kinds of things happen, why they've happened and how they can prevent them. Grade crossing accidents, though, unfortunately, do happen. And we see somewhere between 350 and 400 people every year killed at a grade crossing. And that is some of which people do it on purpose to try to kill themselves. Some are making bad decisions and trying to beat the train. And some have just had some bad luck where they're in the wrong place at the wrong time when a train comes by.
All right, we just don't know what the situation was this morning, but we know that a lot of people have been injured and a lot of people disrupted as a result, and much more on this coming up. Mark Rosenker there, our CBS News transportation safety analyst and the former head of the NTSB.
Where the News Watch never stops. Always live and local. This is KNX 1070 News Radio.
Good morning, I'm Dick Hilton.
And I'm Vicki Moore. This is KNX 1070 live, continuing coverage of the train crash in Oxnard this morning. This is Metrolink train 102 from Ventura County to Los Angeles. Reports of as many as 30 people injured. There are unconfirmed reports of at least one fatality. We have live continuing coverage for you here on KNX 1070, starting with a pair of live reports. KNX 1070's Jeff Ball live over the scene.
All right, the investigation will continue here for quite some time, but just to get you caught up to speed, if you just joined us, this all occurred in Oxnard at 5th and Rice. That's south of the 101 and west of Camarillo Airport. As I speak to you right now, there are still emergency vehicles arriving on scene here. A tremendous turnout by Ventura County Fire in the initial reports due to this crash, which involved, we're told, possibly a large truck, maybe other cars. There was a fire, and the result of all this was this Metrolink train, which was traveling east. 4 commuter cars plus an engine, and 3 of those cars derailed completely. One is directly across the tracks right now. Work continues. We've heard conflicting reports somewhat of between injuries and fatalities. We haven't gotten any word on fatalities. Thankfully, that will stay that way. Those injured are being treated. We're quite certain at this point that all passengers and persons on the train are out of those cars right now. We haven't heard anything against that. There's no list of passengers that's assured on the train, I don't think, but they're working on that right now. So this all continues. There are traffic implications. Pete Demetrio is probably on scene right now, so we'll all have a lot more for you. But for now, over Oxnard, Jeff Baugh, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Thanks, Jeff. We're going to get to Pete in just a second. He is on the ground taking a look at things there, but we had mentioned the 30 people, as many as 30 people injured in this. We had talked earlier about unconfirmed reports of one fatality, but Oxnard police is now saying that no one was killed in this. Again, we're still trying to assess the extent of the injuries, but as many as 30 people injured in this train crash, 102 Metrolink from Ventura County to Los Angeles, and word from Oxnard PD that the driver of the truck, the tractor-trailer truck that the train hit, has now been arrested.
All right, let's go live to the ground right now and with Pete Demetrio. Pete, what are you seeing there?
Well, I'm at East 5th Street. You've actually got 2 of the Metrolink trains. The engine, if it would, is slightly off the tracks, and one of the trains behind it, or one of the cars behind it, also off the tracks. You also see the other trains, which are, or other cars, which are on their side. They've got about 15 to 20 engine companies from Ventura County Fire Department, ambulances that are here from Ventura County and Oxnard, as well as mutual aid units brought in by the California Department, the Office of Emergency Services. The LA County Sheriff's Department is here also, and apparently I just saw an investigator from the state of California apparently pulled his rig up there and is now headed into the scene. They put yellow tape around the entire area of the area at East 5th Street and Rice, which is where the actual collision happened. We're going to try to get a little bit closer to get an assessment of what actually we can see and what they're doing right now. Again, ambulances are here, but no sign that they're moving anybody out or that any of these ambulances are leaving with anybody who's injured. Reporting live at 5th Street and Rice, I'm Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
This is a Metrolink train crash 102 from Ventura County to Los Angeles this morning, crashing in Oxnard. Joining us now on the KNX News line is Keith Millhouse, Ventura County Metrolink Board of Directors. And Keith, what can you tell us this morning?
What I can tell you is based upon the visual that I am seeing from the site, I have not received any first-hand information other than notification of the information that you relayed. But in looking at this and having chaired the Metrolink board immediately after the Chatsworth accident, I'm fairly familiar with the operations and investigations. The train that you see, there were 3 cars on their side. 2 of them are silver in color. Those are the newer trains designed after the Glendale accident They are the safest, most technologically advanced rail cars in the country, and they have collision absorption technology. The white car that's on its side is also a passenger car. It's a Bombardier car. It's an older car, and if there is anything good news, it is that the cars sustain very little damage to themselves. It appears that most of the injuries were most likely from people getting tossed around because of the derailment of those cars and them ending up on their side.
Yeah, Keith, let me ask you about that. Let me stop you right there, because we talked to Mark Rosenkirk at the NTSB, who was sort of agreeing with what you were just saying about these new cars and how good they are in terms of able or ability to withstand a collision. But once you get inside that car, you're pretty much at the will of gravity or momentum or whatever when you go over on your side. There's nothing inside the car to really protect you that much, is there?
Well, there are features that are in the car that are high. There are high seat backs to prevent you from being a projectile to other passengers. But obviously, when a car ends up on its side, you're going to, have people that can get tossed around. There are no seat belts in the trains. We follow the directions and recommendations of the Federal Railroad Administration in terms of, what's the safest. And for example, if there were seat belts, oftentimes removing people from the trains that would be unconscious, you have to cut them out. If there's a fire, that's problematic. So again, we don't design things specifically for the train, but have to rely on federal dictates and mandates in connection with that. But the vehicle that was hit appears to be a tractor trailer rig that, and it looks like a sand and gravel truck. So, a fully loaded sand and gravel truck is quite a substantial vehicle. And so, as a result, you have not the damage itself to the cars is good and, is more protective of passengers and the crew member there. I haven't heard anything about a fatality, but my thoughts and prayers are, with all the passengers, because our passengers are typically people that ride with us every day, and it's a very close-knit Metrolink family.
Keith Millhouse, we're talking to him, and just one more question for you, Keith, very quickly. You had mentioned the fatality, and apparently Oxnard PD is now saying that no, that is not the case. No fatalities, thankfully, in this accident. But we did hear that the driver of the tractor trailer had been arrested. Have you heard anything about that?
I have only heard that from the news reports, and one of the great frustrations we have is the carelessness that drivers and pedestrians exhibit around train tracks. It's just critical for not only their own safety, but for the safety of the driver, the engineer, our crew, and passengers, that people expect that trains are coming on tracks. And if you can't clear the track, you should wait until you have the ability to do so. And it's just tremendously frustrating. There was the incident with, the individual that was killed who was on the tracks, last month, and people just do stupid things around the tracks, and unfortunately, it puts many people in jeopardy.
All right, Keith Millhouse with the Ventura County Metrolink Board of Directors. Thanks for being with us. So we'll talk to you a little bit later this morning. And live continuing coverage on this crash of Metrolink train 102 continues on KNX.
Let's talk a little bit more about other traffic issues this morning, certainly the one in Ventura County. Here's John.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I was on the phone with Ventura County Highway Patrol, and they gave me a website. I said to them, what do people do if their loved ones are on the train? How do they reach them? What do they do? They suggested you do not go into that area, but they gave a website, VC, standing for Ventura County Emergency.com. They're trying to put more information as I speak up on there, so you can check on that to find out about the loved ones and find out about the crash itself. VCEmergency.com. I'm also looking at the drive through that area of Oxnard. It's very, very heavy. I asked if you could still exit the freeway, and they said yes, but they're recommending people not go into that area because some of the surface streets, it's farmland there, but the surface streets that are there are getting very, very crowded. Of course, 5th and Rice is what's closed there, but the 101 itself is very heavy from Johnson Drive all the way down into at least Lewis, which takes you to Camarillo. So this is just a little bit west of the airport itself, the Camarillo Airport. We're going to now deal with some Los Angeles freeways. Let's go to Scott Birch and Air 1070.
East 60 Azusa off-ramp is shut down due to an overturned big rig. It's jammed up through Hacienda Boulevard, so you might want to use Hacienda as an exit or just go a little further east and use Fullerton Road. West 60 heavy from, looks like about Fullerton Road on and off out through the 605.
And let's go to Michael Bryan on Air 1070. He's been over the 91 in the Corona area.
Yeah, the Corona crawl is on as you're heading towards Orange County. 91 westbound loading up here just before the 15-unit chain. That's going to be very tough through Green River.
170 southbound, there's a crash blocking the second lane from the left and back up all the way to Roscoe on that 170 south. Also west 101 at Tampa. Ken called us in a hit and run blocking the number 1 lane. A very tough drive getting away from the 405. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Our next report at 7:45 from your Southern California traffic leader, KNX 1070 and CBSLA.com.
Just kind of a quick update on the weather for you here. Temps are going to be moving up to about 70 under sunny skies later on today. Right now downtown Los Angeles has 44 degrees.
This is live continuing coverage of the Metrolink train crash in Oxnard this morning. This is train 102 from Ventura County to Los Angeles this morning. The crash happened before 6 o'clock. We've been told that possibly as many as 100 people were on the train. They do not have the actual count, but based on the time of the morning and the location, that's the number that's been put out there. The number of injuries we're hearing, around 30 people. There had been earlier unconfirmed reports of a fatality, but now Oxnard police is saying that is not the case. Scott Johnson with Metrolink, we talked to him live on KNX this morning and said that the train was just starting its route.
In terms of the passenger count, typically it's less than 100. Typically we actually get the passenger count from our conductor, but the conductor and engineer were both injured in this collision.
And also, we talked with Mark Rosinger at the National Transportation Safety Board. He was the former chair there, now our safety consultant with CBS News. And as we were reporting just moments ago, these are new train cars that are on that Metrolink line. And it looks as though that new construction may have limited the casualties and the damage.
It does not look like the cars crumpled. It does not look like they came apart. Apparently, this collision energy management technology that in fact that they had installed as part of the improvement of the railroad and the safety did seem to work.
Jeff Baugh has been live over the scene for us. Let's go back up to him. Jeff, what's the latest up there?
Well, we'll certainly highlight what you just heard from those two officials there, looking at these cars that they did not rip apart after the impact with this large truck or whatever it was that was in the crossing right now. They are definitely on their sides, that's for sure. But we can also pretty much rest assured, I believe now, we're getting a little bit closer than we were last time. I really don't see any more firefighter or rescue attempts or searching going on inside the cars. There's a few firefighters standing outside one right now. So I would assume at this point that everyone has been accounted for. The investigation will continue for quite some time. And another thought that crossed my mind when we were all talking about this, when we get to the point of a vehicle being on the tracks, train officials will talk about this. They'll talk about someone trespassing onto their tracks, and that's pretty much exactly what happens. Clearing an intersection is so important. When you get up to an intersection or a train crossing and traffic backs up, if you're on it, you have to do everything you can to get off of those tracks and move on. It's a very, very crucial situation. Things are settling down somewhat here. I'm sure we'll get some more facts and figures and details from Pete Demetrio. He's on the ground. But for now, things are easing up here just a tad. But boy, this is going to go on and on for days, that's for sure. Becky, I'll throw it back to you.
All right, Jeff, very quickly, let me come back to you because Scott Johnson at Metrolink was telling us that they were going to, provide buses, obviously, to take care of people that were not injured. Have you seen anything indicating that they brought any forms of transportation?
No, not at all, Dick. No, not at all. As a matter of fact, as I speak to you right now, there's just a steady stream of ambulances coming and going right now, but no sign of buses yet.
Jeff Baugh live over the scene there in Oxnard. Thanks, Jeff. We'll check in with you in a little bit, continuing live coverage for you here on KNX 1070 of the Metrolink train crash in Oxnard. Train 102 from Ventura County to Los Angeles this morning. At least 3 of the cars on that train derailed and just flipped over on their side, as Jeff was talking about. 30 people, as many as 30 people injured. That is the number. No deaths. Thankfully, a lot of people taken to the hospitals this morning for their injuries. Now, the train hit a tractor-trailer rig on the tracks this morning. Why was it there? We don't know. It burst into flames, and the driver was running from the scene. He he was picked up by the police department, and the latest word is that he's been arrested. On what charges, we don't know. What was the situation that actually caused this crash?
Well, and what we do know at that particular location, I mean, there are lights. I think there are crossing arms there as well to obviously say, hey, there's a train coming. Don't get on the tracks. And as we heard from Keith Millhouse at Metrolink board there a little while ago, people do stupid things. I think that was the word he used.
He just came out and said it was stupid.
Stupid things. They get on tracks, regardless whether the lights are working or not working, and that will be part of the investigation, by the way, as to what was the status of the lights, although I just saw a TV shot just a moment ago. Those lights are blinking on and off right now, so one would assume that they were probably working at the time that the train was coming through, so we don't know why that truck was on the tracks, but we do know that when it was hit, it was a violent crash, because the train the car went up in flames, or the truck went up in flames. The good news is there was none of that actually transferred into the actual cars on the Metrolink train itself. They just derailed, and derailed rather substantially. 3 and 4 cars, as we said, looks like it was probably a 5-car train, along with the locomotive itself.
Yep.
But just completely scattered all over the tracks there.
Perhaps as many as 100 people on board the train at the time. It had just kind of started out, and the estimate, that's an estimate, that may have been the number of people on the train. Again, continuing live coverage of the Metrolink train crash in Oxnard this morning, train 102 for Metrolink. We're going to have more on this coming up in just a few, but we got to check some other things. 2 other people are driving around town this morning.
Yeah, there are. People are saying, hey, what's going on with my freeway? And we certainly know that that's important as well. Jen?
Absolutely. We've had an earlier problem on the West 101 at Tampa. It was a crash blocking the number 1 lane from the left. It's causing a lot of delays back to about the Encino area. I was told it was a hit and run because there's just one car badly damaged there. Also, they're calling it concrete blocks, northbound side of the 405 and the South Bay curve. They're going to be running a break in the 2 right lanes right around Alameda. So I want to give you a heads up on that. The northbound side of the 405 has been very tough this morning, basically coming up from the Long Beach area. You don't get a break today. It's a tough drive, northbound side of the 405. Also wanted to mention, if you're just tuning in, that Hollywood Boulevard has been reopened. It was closed for about 6 or 7 days because of the Oscars. Let's go to our airborns in the sky. Let's go to Scott Burt, and Air 1070's been over the 60 freeway.
Yeah, quite a problem here on the eastbound 60 at Azusa. The off-ramp is shut down. We have a rig on its side, so this one's going to be here a while. The backup through Hacienda Boulevard. Gail will help you through some of this, maybe Colima Road. West 60, extra heavy here too, from looks like about Fullerton Road as you head out past the 605.
And let's go to Michael Bright at Air 1070 Mike.
That's over Riverside, the 91 eastbound. That's going to be heavy here from Tyler. Work your way into downtown.
Orange County, we haven't forgot about you. Eastbound side of the 22. Boy, oh boy, a loaded trip from the 405 all the way across it into the crush. Southbound side of the 55 tough from at least the 91 down, and the South 405 heading into Orange County. If you're flying out of John Wayne, I got to tell you, the South 405 is loading up right at the 605, and it stays tough all the way down to the El Toro Y. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Our next report at 7:55 from your Southern California traffic leader, KNX 1070 at CBSLA.com.
Okay, good enough as far as the forecast is concerned. Not a bad day here in Southern California. Temps will be up to about 70 or so later on today with sunny skies, as we said. Pretty much the same thing coming our way tomorrow. We've not really had a chance to talk about this recently because of all this coverage we've been doing here of this big train accident out between Oxnard and Camarillo this morning. But there is a chance of some rain developing over the weekend, maybe late Friday night into Saturday morning. Right now, downtown Los Angeles has 44. It's 43 in Studio City, and in Downey right now, it's also 43 degrees. And this is Southern California's only all-news radio station, KNX 1070 News Radio. I'm Nick Holton.
And I'm Vicki Moore. We're going to go back to the crash scene, the Metrolink train crash in Oxnard this morning. This is train 102. Live at the scene for us, KNX 1070's Pete Demetrio.
We're getting a briefing right now very quickly. Excuse me? First of all, have we cleared everybody out of the train as far as we know?
At this time, the train is clear. We have 0 fatalities. We have 2 critical injuries who were transported to Ventura County Medical Trauma Center. And we have multiple patients that are in various stages of being transported right now. But the train is clear. The official release will be coming in 10 to 15 minutes with an update on all agencies involved and what our plans are from here. But at this time, we have 5 of the cars are derailed. The train was being pushed eastbound on the tracks, and we struck a train in the intersection, or struck a vehicle in the intersection, pushed it up the tracks. The driver of that vehicle did flee and is now in custody by Oxnard PD. And 3 of the 5 cars are on their sides. completely, and there had to be some extrications, and then 2 of the cars are still on tracks but derailed at this time.
To the point of the collision itself, what actually do we know happened? Was the truck stalled on the tracks trying to cross? Were the barriers down?
At this time, I can't speak to that other than what the evidence is pointing to is that it was on the tracks when it was struck, and that the remainder of the vehicle is still on the tracks but further down the line.
Was there any effort by the train, to blow the signal, try to hit the brakes, try to stop? Was there any chance for it to do
I haven't talked to the engineers, so at this time I couldn't answer that.
Who's handling the investigation at this particular point? I know we've got Ventura, Oxnard PD here right now, but who's going to be handling the lead on this one? Any idea?
At this point, we're still in the investigation mode. This is our PIO, Battalion Chief Sergio Martinez from the Oxnard City Fire Department, and like I said, in about 10 to 15 minutes, he's going to have a prepared statement with all the updated information, and we'll give it back to you then.
Can you tell us more about the injuries?
0 fatalities.
0 fatalities.
At this point, this is what we have. Again, 3 cars down of the 5 cars that were here on part of the train itself. We do have a number of critical injuries, but the good word is no fatalities, and they apparently cleared all the people out of the wrecked cars on the train. The driver of the big rig that apparently was the key person involved in causing this crash because his truck was on the railroad tracks, apparently fled or ran. He was caught. He's now in custody, and what they're going to be doing with him, well, that's going to be up to the Ventura County Sheriff's Department and other agencies. Reporting live from the scene of the Metrolink crash in Oxnard, I'm Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
All right, Pete, that's the latest from there. Jeff Ball's been sort of circulating overhead, as a matter of fact. In fact, there he is. I can hear him right now. Jeff, what more can you add to what you're seeing from the air?
Well, it's going to be a complicated situation. I think the key factor at this moment in the investigation, which will continue, is exactly what that truck was doing. Was it indeed stalled? Was the driver trying to cross the tracks in front of the train? And now with the driver in custody, I don't think it'll be too much longer before we find all that out. The wonderful, wonderful news here, comparing this to all the other horrible crashes that we have covered through the years here, is that there is no fatality. That the train cars indeed did stay intact. They weren't ripped apart. The one that comes to mind instantly is that horrible Chatsworth crash where actually